Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Hindmarsh Shire July meeting. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the lands of the Watchabalik, Jadwa, Jabberjali, Regara and Jopakot nations, who we acknowledge as traditional owners of country. We also acknowledge the important ongoing role that Indigenous people play within our community and pay our respects to elders past and present. Thank you, councillors, and thanks, councillor officers. And welcome to the public gallery today. Noisy bunch. This meeting is being broadcast on the internet, and the recording of the meeting will be published on Council's Facebook page and the YouTube channel. As a visitor in the public gallery, you may be filmed. By remaining in the public gallery, you consent to being filmed and for the recording of you to be made publicly available by the council. A copy of the council's live streaming and recording of council meetings policy is available at the back of this room and on the council's website. Please speak with one of our staff members if you have any questions. Item 2, apologies. I think we have none. Thank you, Mrs. Rebel. Item 3, declarations of interest. Does any councillor or council officer have a conflict of interest in any item on today's agenda?
Yes.
Well, hang on. Yes, councillor Nelson.
To declare a general conflict with item 10.10 during what?
Yeah. During, yeah.
Reason? Because it does mention where some of the things should be distributed to the Historical Society, and I'm the treasurer of Hindmarsh Historical Society.
Nice pickup. Thanks, councillor Nelson. Councillor Gersh.
Yeah, I'm never quite sure. Mr. Trevor will help me out. 15.2 in confidential report, as I'm a member of the Sporting Club.
General.
General, thank you.
Yeah, I also have a general conflict for item 15.2 as my family members of the New District Sporting Club.
Thank you, councillor Albright.
Mr. Mayor, I would also like to declare a general conflict of interest in item 15.2. My partner volunteers for the Nilla District Sporting Club.
And Mr. Mayor, I'd like to declare a material conflict of interest in confidential item 15.3 as the professional development is in relation to me.
Thank you, Mrs. Rebel. Going to get a bit lonely in here at times. Thank you, councillors and council officers. Item 4, confirmation of minutes, and there's a recommendation for councillors.
Maryland, I'm happy to move a motion that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, the 26th of June 2024 at the Nil Chamber, 92 Nelson Street, Nil, as circulated to councillors, be taken as read and confirmed.
Thanks, councillor.
Yeah, I'm happy to second that.
Councillor Bywater. All those in favour, against, is carried. Item 5, public question and submission time. We have no submissions today. Item 6, activity reports. I'll go first. I attended the Rainbow Lions Club changeover dinner, and congratulations to all the new members and new committee for the next year. The Lions up there do a great job. They're pitching in at Urunga, doing the gardening or cooking a barbecue for this or Australia Day, and they're a great group of people up there. I think they've got 22 members. I think about equal active members, 11 active and 11 just joined because they've been members in the past. So good bunch of people, and enjoyed the meal up there at the bowling club a lot. Dimboola Secondary College debutante ball. There was 14 couples were presented to myself, Sally Clingy, the principal, and music teacher. And I think it's really good that this tradition continues. I know Rainbow Storm Football Club have had one recently, and it's good that, you know, country towns still have these things going on for the youth. And that was a really good night as well. I've spoken earlier about, I was a week away in Canberra with our CEO, and heard from many presenters on a range of topics, housing, tourism, had contact with various MPs to push our needs as small rural council, and hell of a lot of networking over the week, and talk like for like to shires with our same sort of issues and problems, and most of it's around money. It's funny enough. And yeah, so very enjoyable weekend. It's a great experience up there, and 540 odd mayors and 540 odd CEOs, and yeah, it's a very busy week. And the rest is tabled, I think, so I'll pass to councillor Bywaters.
Thank you, Mayor Ireland. I attended both the Dimboola and the Nil community consultation and farmer consultations where I could. That was the farmer consultations especially was well represented, and I'd like to thank everyone that come out and helped with the information sharing that we have in those events. I attended Grampians Wimmera tourism event in Stawell, and I found that very interesting and well worth attending. Good networking opportunities, and great to see the staff we had there. So that was really good. Budget. So look, I was disappointed to miss the NAIDOC art event in Dimboola. I had a family funeral in Ballarat, so I couldn't attend because I was with my mum, but I did pop into Gallery Central and have a bit of a look around there. And I think we've got some amazing artists throughout Hindmarsh. I know right throughout Hindmarsh Shire Council, and I'd like to congratulate them all for the efforts they made. There was an event up in Rainbow, and I know, look at in Nil here, it was great to see the pottery being performed in front of my own eyes, and First Nations art everywhere. So, you know, congratulations. I'm disappointed. I'll let Councillor Nelson or Councillor Albrecht talk about the Dimboola one because I've missed it, but would like to make a point to the public and anyone that might be listening to take the opportunity to look at our galleries where you can. We have some amazing talent, and you know, most things are for sale, which is good to see. The Rainbow Scout group presentation night was in Rainbow. I had the opportunity to step in for the mayor and attend the Rainbow Group Awards and Reports and Presentation night. And the club Cub Scouts and leaders were all magnificent. They were wonderful young people. The scout group is looking for a scout leader. I said to them that when I did this report, I'd give a bit of a shout out. So if anyone's interested in scouting, the Rainbow group is the only one in Hindmarsh Shire, and it's obviously running really strong, and it was a fabulous night. So please get in touch with them if anyone's interested in helping young people with scouting. I'd highly recommend it. My young fellas did it when they were young, actually all three of my children, and they learnt lots of skills. And it's the first time I've been to a scouting group for many, many years, but it was great, and they made me feel really, really welcome. The dinner was delicious, and the scouts made damper, and they had tasty casseroles, and one of the parents made a lovely cake that I enjoyed. And they gave me, it was quite an honour actually, it nearly brought me to tears when they gave me a friendship knot, and they said for me to wear it whenever I go to scouting events. So I'm looking forward to wearing it next time. And the other thing is that on the 1st of August, it is World Scout Scarf Day. So I know where I'll be that day. I've got to take my mum to a medical appointment. I'm planning on wearing my scarf. So I'll see how many comments I got. Everyone that knows me knows that I like to dress up as a theme. So that was a really good experience, and I enjoyed it. And Councillor Nelson and I attended the Dimboola Football and Netball Club council-sponsored barbecue. Thanks to the staff for cooking the barbecue. We were there to do a bit of a survey on sports and community recreation in Dimboola and throughout Hindmarsh. And I thank for the people that filled out the forms. We had quite a good response from some of the younger ones and some netballers. A lot of comments about roads, but this was mostly about recreation in sport. And I just want all the sporting groups out there to be thinking about the sports and community recreation in our shire, and we'll be doing more things in the future. So that was our little first point of call, and hopefully people will get more used to seeing us out and about and getting community consultation, and put their thinking caps on and think about what they want to see in sport and recreation throughout Hindmarsh in the next year or so. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor Bywaters. Councillor Gersh.
Submit, as read, except the third item, it is Elsie Elkingham, ELSIE, not oldie. 102, I suppose you are fairly oldie, but her name is Elsie. And the only other couple, Mr. Mayor, is the Rotary and Lions changeover. Unfortunately, both on the same day, and I attended both of them, cutting it a bit fine to the Lions, but I did get there. Interestingly enough, both service clubs retained their same chairperson, which I found quite interesting in today's times. The Lions have got reasonable numbers, the Rotary are struggling with numbers, but both current chair people went back in for the next year. And but again, when you look at their financial report, the work and the volunteer work that they do, you know, we continually make mention about the volunteers, but the Lions probably in particular, because they do have a very good membership, which is very pleasing. So a great day. I did go out to Little Desert Lodge, which I hadn't been out there for a long time, and the new owners out there, and I was very pleased to go out and have a look. And I hadn't met them before, but to actually go out and have a meal and see what's going on out there. So that was great that they've got the Little Desert Lodge back up and running. And but yeah, again, just both our service clubs. Yeah, I don't know what word to use to describe them for what they do to our communities. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor Gersh. Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'll just comment on the NAIDOC exhibition. Yeah, it was great to see so many people come along to see the exhibition. It was a good range of different mediums, charcoal drawings, and some digitally enhanced photographs of on country, which was very, I've seen that, it was very different, very original. So both Gail and Tanisha need to be very much congratulated for what they pulled together for that art exhibition, and being open all the week. I'm sure there were lots of people that went through and had a look at it, not just the ones that turned up for the opening. So well done to everyone involved with that. It was certainly well received.
Thanks, councillor Nelson. Councillor Albright.
Only to second what councillor Nelson said, it was an amazing art exhibition, but I'll always take it as read. Thanks.
Thank you, councillor Albright. Councillor Ismay.
I haven't got much there, Mr. Mayor. I was at the Commonwealth Bank and the Women Southern Mallee meeting that we had here, and I would just like to comment maybe that a little bit of concern in my head as to where the Women Southern Mallee is going, just with what was said around the table with reporting and how it's going. But other than that, I don't think that I need to add. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor Ismay. Thanks, councillors. Item 7, correspondence. There's a recommendation there.
Mayor, I move that the council notes the attached correspondence in item number 7.
Thanks, councillor. There's a second, councillor Ismay. Thank you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 8, assembly of councillor records. There's also a recommendation. Yes, councillor Nelson.
Mayor, I'll move the council notes the assembly of council records as presented.
Thanks, councillor Nelson. Second, councillor Ismay. Thank you. All those in favour? Against? That carried. Item 9, planning permits, and these are applications approved under the CEO delegation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report provides the update on the planning permits that were processed in the last quarter, 1 April to 30 June. We processed 9 planning permit applications, 1 Vic Smart application, and all of them were approved under CEO delegations. the delegation allows CEO to approve the planning permit that are straightforward and non-controversial or uncontroversial, whatever you call it. The list is passed there for council's information, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions to report? Yes, councillor Ismay.
Regarding 13 Bow Street. It says here, the deletion of public toilet and cleaning store for use in development. Is that the shed that's behind the silo? Or is it just taken out of the planning?
That's the amendment of the existing planning permit. So we have the existing planning permit, and then this is the amendment to fit into the scope of our project.
Yeah.
I believe there is the deletion, yep, under public toilet in there.
So there was going to be a public toilet, now there isn't.
Sorry?
Yeah. So is the Lou's garage that's behind the building, that's got to be removed?
Yeah.
Is that something that's being done under the project, or is that something that needs to be done next to?
No, it's part of the project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was talk that there was no money to do something with it or something. I don't know where that came from, but sort of.
No, Simon's definitely dealing with it.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, councillor Lowe.
Oh, I was just going to move the motion.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, I moved that council notes planning applications approved under delegation by the CEO or delegate for the period 1st of August 2024 to the 30th of June 2024.
Thank you. Orders by seconder, councillor Nelson, thank you. All those in favour? Against, that carried. Item 10, reports requiring a decision. We've got 10.1 governance update. I'll pass to Mrs. Breville.
Thank you, Mayor. This report presents the councillor expense entitlement policy and the councillor complaints handling policy and procedure. The councillor expense entitlement policy was presented to the Audit and Risk Committee meeting on the 12th of June and then endorsed at the council meeting on the 26th of June for a period of community consultation. Since presenting the draft report, there's been one minor amendment to the policy. Previously, we had the amount for the remote travel allowance. We've removed the amount from the policy and refer now to the Victorian Independent Tribunal who determine and publish the figures. We had 15 people engage with our policy, but there were no submissions received. So it is recommended that we adopt the councillor expense entitlement policy. We've developed a councillor complaints handling policy. We recognise that members of the public have a right to complain about the behaviour of their elected representatives, and we're committed to ensuring that councillor complaints are handled in a way that reflects the needs, expectations and rights of the community. The policy and procedure provides a model approach to complaints handling and outlines the essential features of council's system to deal with complaints about councillors. It's recommended that the policy be made and procedure be made available for community consultation from the 25th of July to the 15th of August.
Thanks, Mrs. Revel. Any questions to that report? Yes, councillor.
Question, on the councillor policy. Is this standard? We're not creating something here that's not standard across local government in Victoria.
Which policy?
Our policy here that we're putting out.
We've got two policies here. Which one are you talking?
The councillor one
Expense.
the public reporting on councillors.
Oh, the complaints. Yeah, sorry. Yes, there are a number of councils who have a councillor complaints handling. We reviewed our complaints handling procedure and it is silent on complaints in relation to councillors. So we have prepared this policy.
So is it standard though across the board, 78 other councils?
Not every council has it, but a lot of councils do have it in place. But they will be other mechanisms in other policies where they will address councillor complaints.
So this doesn't come under the governance or code of conduct under the Local Government Act?
No.
Thank you.
It was a positive out of a negative situation. I think it's good that we have reached that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no problem with them, I support it, but I just wonder why we're doing it and it's not in the Local Government Act under our code of conduct, across the board. So.
Any further questions? No, council, anybody like to move?
Yeah, Mayor Island, I'd like to move that council adopts the councillor expense entitlement policy and 2, endorses the councillor complaints handling policy and procedure for the period of community engagement from the 25th of July 2024 at 5 p.m. on the 15th of August, 5 p.m. on the 15th of August 2024.
Thanks, councillor Bywater. Have I got a second? Councillor Nelson, thank you. Would you like to speak?
I will speak to it. I mean, we've got many policies in place at council. We do have all the ones Councillor Gersh was talking about, but I mean the expense entitlements policy is important, and the little minor changes is a good one, I think. As for the complaints handling policy, I think it's very good policy to actually, to be all covered. We have a staff complaints policy and we have lots of other procedures in place, but us as councillors are not above making mistakes from time to time, and we need to be held accountable. So I think it's really good to have a proper policy to protect us as well as community. So thanks for all the work you've done on this, and I'm happy to move that motion.
Thanks, councillor Bywater. Did you want to speak at all, councillor? If not, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you. Item 10.2, the Council Plan Action Plan 23-24, fourth quarter update. Mr. Ferrero.
Thank you. This report provides council with a final update on the council plan actions for 23-24. There's 60 actions that were sent for delivery during 23-24. Of those 60 actions, 25 or 42% have been delivered, 19 or 31% are in progress or underway, 12 or 20% are ongoing, 3 not commenced yet, and 1 has been delayed. There's a significant amount of detail there for councillors on each of the actions. I'll pick out just a couple for you. We are now delivering quarterly hard copy newsletters to the community. So our first hard copy newsletter was delivered in April 2024, and our July to August, or our August to October edition, is about to hit mailboxes in the next 2 weeks. We are keen to hear from the community if they are receiving this or if they're not receiving them. It should be noted, though, they are distributed through Australia Post, and if somebody has no junk mail, they won't receive the newsletter. Our youth councillors have organised and held a 90s disco in Dimboola. They had 120 attendees from across the Shire, which is fantastic to see. We continue to advocate for the upgrades to Davis Park. The tender for the AFL compliant change rooms and tiered seating was advertised and closed in early July. Unfortunately, we weren't successful with our heavy vehicle grant applications for the Dimboola-Minyip Road. So officers are working around how we'll be able to make some fixes to that road, because it is significantly damaged and does require a fair bit of work. We continually advocate to both the state and federal government for increased funding to roads. We do have a significant road network, so it is important that we receive funding to enable us to maintain those roads to a standard that our community can expect. We're currently undertaking a review of our planning scheme. This has been funded through the Regional Planning Hub. And we are currently working towards the upcoming council elections to make sure that the new council have a thorough induction program. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for councillor? Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Allen, through you to the CEO. I just wondered whether the Pride working group last minutes could be revisited, just with some actions that we had said that they might be something that we could Okay, do we bring it in? This one, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Revisit it.
We recently called for expressions of interest for interested community members as well, so they are still open if there is anyone in our community that's interested in joining that committee.
Yes,
As
councillor
I'm
Barwood.
guessing the unsuccessfully advertised position for a Karen Leo as an officer, I guess that's still being advertised, is it, or is
And
it?
so it's not being advertised at the moment, but we will re-advertise it again in the future to see if there has been anyone that's moved to the Shire that might be interested in that position.
That's a 2-day a week.
Yes.
I just asked,
Yep.
Rebel, facilitate designs for the Rainbow football change rooms. It's on hold, with the new teams, until full season is complete with the new teams that have merged. And I'm just wondering, I don't think we're ever going to get funding to build new change rooms there because of the cost of these damn things these days. But the feedback I get from some of the people involved in the clubs there are suggesting that if there was a new roof put on what's there and some new acoustic tiles put in the ceiling where the roof's leaked and damaged them, they'd be pretty happy with, and maybe just a bit of a refurbishment. I just wonder whether we could put that in next year's budget as an option. I reckon there's at least 3 plumbers in the football club. I reckon if the Shire were prepared to buy the corrugated iron, I could probably wrangle to have it fitted free of charge. Maybe not, but I would certainly push to have that be the case. But I don't think they've got the funding to be able to do some of this stuff, and probably a refurbishment inside might be a few dollars, but it might be an option to give them something reasonably decent. And considering they're on top of the ladder, they probably should have some influence on it too, of course.
We'll have a chat to our facilities team and they can start some discussions.
All right. Thank you.
If there's no further questions,
I'll move that council receives the council plan, action plan 2023-24, fourth quarter update.
thank you, councillor Hurst.
Just
Thanks, councillor Barwood. Would you like to speak to it, councillor Hurst? Councillor Barwood.
Yeah, I will. I just like to look, there's quite a few here that have been delivered. So congratulations to the staff for those deliveries and the ongoing. And we know that money is an issue, but I would just like to look with quite a few of these, but I would just like to commend this here to the public if they would like to have a look at it. The agenda's online. If you haven't already looked at it, it's a good way to see what council is achieving and what we're working on. So that's really all I wanted to say, other than, yeah, thank you to the staff.
Thanks, councillor Barwood. No further speakers. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour, against, that is carried. 10.3 of the interim financial report for the period ending 30th of June 2024, and I'll pass to Petra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report provides the interim financial report to 30th of June 2024. The financials haven't been through the audit processes and several end of year processes are still to be completed, including reconciliations for depreciation and provisions such as leave, landfill and quarries. The final version of the financial report will be presented on completion of the VAGO audit, which is required to be completed by 30th of September. So a copy of the dashboard providing both financial and non-financial information is provided for the full year. The income statement shows an operating surplus of 536,000 against a budgeted surplus of 2.5 million. This will be subject to change when final end of financial year adjustments are made. But the major variance is due to the early payment of the financial assistance grants, which were budgeted to be received in 23-24, but were received just prior to 30th of June 2023. At 30th of June, our cash flow and investments were sitting at 11.61 million. There are a number of projects which are not completed in 23-24 that will be carried forward to the 24-25 budget, including the Lou Shilling Silo, the Chaparrot Workshop, Davis Park upgrades, and a number of non-recurrent grants that were received just prior to 30th of June 2024 for initiatives to be completed during 24-25. Capital works expenditure for the year was at 7.28 million against a budget of 7.45 million. Incomplete projects will be carried forward into next year's budget and prioritised for completion. There is a commentary listed against the financial statements for council information.
Thanks, Petra. Any questions for Petra's report on the financials? Yes, councillor Nelson.
I noticed that the rates arrears has gone up in the last couple of years, and I'm just wondering what kind of measures can be implemented for people who are having difficulty paying their rates.
Yeah, sure.
We have a number of measures. So there are BPay options on the rates notice. People can set up BPays on a basis that suits them. It might be fortnightly, monthly. We also have the option of people contacting council and we can set up a direct debit on their behalf, and then we can be flexible with the period that they'd like the deduction to come from. It might be fortnightly, monthly, quarterly. There are some people that ask that they're on a direct debit and they just have the rates paid in full when they're due. We also have centre pay options. So for people that are getting a pension or a payment through Centrelink, they can opt to have their rates paid through centre pay. We do encourage people to contact us early and have a conversation with us, because we are happy to work with people on a payment plan that suits them. But most councils are seeing that their rates of arrears have increased, and I think that this is the cost of living is certainly starting to show, but we are happy to work with people as much as we can to assist them.
Thank you. That's good advice for the community.
Thanks, councillor Nelson. Any further questions to the report? I thought Mary Ann wanted one then, but if not, is a recommendation. Yes, councillor Ismay.
Happy to move the council's interim financial report for the period ending 30th of June 2024 as presented.
Mr. Ismay, have a second. Councillor Albrecht, thank you. Would you like to speak to
Just that our financial people, as always, do a very good job. I think the team out the back there do a wonderful job. So
they do. Councillor Albrecht. If not, I'll put to a vote. All those in favour, against, that's carried. 10.4 is the Fair Access Policy Action Plan. I'll pass to Petra.
Thank you. So the Fair Access Policy Roadmap was introduced by the Office for Women in Sport and Recreation in 2022. The roadmap aims to develop a statewide foundation to improve the access to and use of community sports infrastructure for women and girls. Local councils were required to have a fair access policy or equivalent in place by 1st of July to 1st of October 2024, and must also develop an action plan to achieve the objectives of the policy and the fair access principles. Our fair access policy was adopted by council on 26th of June 2024 as parts of our sports and recreation reserve allocation use and fair access policy. With this draft action plan now presented to support the aspirations and principles of the policy, but with the context, resources and goals of our local clubs in mind. Some of the actions include auditing existing community facilities, providing resources to clubs around inclusivity, encouraging mentorship programs for leadership and coaching positions, and promoting female sport and the development of inclusive competitions. This action plan will be supported by Council's Free from Violence program, as well as our sports and recreation strategy. So the report recommends the draft Fair Access Policy Action Plan to be endorsed for a period of community engagement from 25th of July 2024 to 15th of August 2024. Happy to take questions.
Petra, any questions on that policy? If not, there's a recommendation. Yes, councillor Bywater.
I move that council endorses the Fair Access Policy Action Plan for a period of community engagement from the 25th of July 2024 to 5 p.m. on the 15th of August 2024.
You, any seconder on that? Councillor Nelson, thank you. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Just to encourage people to read and consult. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. And good work.
Councillor Nelson.
Just the same, yes. I'd encourage anyone who's interested in sport and is involved in that to read through this and provide some feedback on any suggestions, or time to do that. So just make it.
There's no further speakers. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour, against, that is carried. 10.5 risk management, and I'll pass to Petra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this report presents the risk management framework, risk management policy, and risk appetite and tolerance statement, and recommends that they be made available for a period of community engagement from 25th of July to 15th of August 2024. The three documents are distinct, but they work together to govern council's management and internal control framework as it relates to risk. All three documents were endorsed by the Audit and Risk Committee in June. So the risk appetite and tolerance statement describes how much risk council is willing to accept in pursuit of our strategic goals. It covers health and safety, org culture, infrastructure, service delivery, the environment, finance, IT and reputation. It also details opportunities as they relate to those risk areas. The risk management policy clearly documents council's approach to establishing and maintaining effective risk management and culture across the organisation. And the risk management framework supports the policy and outlines how council will implement the process for incorporating organisational risks into our overall governance, strategy, planning and management. The report details the changes that have been made to the documents, but they're also highlighted in red, so it's really clear. I'm happy to take questions, and I'll also just note that the motion will need to be split because at the moment the recommendation is worded as a single sentence and there are three distinct documents.
Thank you, Petra.
That's okay.
For that report. No, if not, there's a recommendation there.
Mayor Ireland, I'm happy to move a motion that council endorses the following documents. Number 1, risk management policy, 2, risk management framework, and 3, risk appetite and tolerance statement for a period of community engagement from the 25th of July 2024 to the 5th of 5 p.m. on the 15th of August 2024. If that's sufficient enough.
Thank you, Councillor
Well,
Councillor Gersh, would you like to speak to your motion?
Not only, I mean, as a member of the audit committee, in addition to councillor reps of the audit committee, we have external representation and audit. So we're very confident in the high quality of these documents.
Yeah, that's important information. We don't just sit here making all these random decisions. We've got quite a large committee of very experienced people that overlook us, and yeah, we've got to answer to them and they guide us how much risk we take. Yes, Councillor Gersh, would you like to speak? If not, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour, against, that's carried. 10.6 draft climate adaptation strategy, and Petra, you're on a roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this report presents the draft climate adaptation strategy recommended for endorsement for a period of community engagement from 25th of July to 15th of August 2024. So as we know, our economy and our rural community are strongly affected by changes in climate. Climate determines the health of broadacre agriculture and agribusiness supply chains, as well as livability in the Shire's towns. And we also know that the impact of climate change can exacerbate existing inequalities and socioeconomic disadvantage. So the policy builds on Council's original climate adaptation strategy from 2012 and sets out a long-term plan for improving climate adaptation and resilience. Actions fall under the following strategies: ensuring ongoing livability and visitor appeal, transitioning the Shire's built environment to withstand the impacts of a changing climate, protecting and enhancing our natural resources and environment, encouraging the farming and business communities to adopt climate change mitigation practices, facilitating and leading by example through responsible policies, training and budgetary initiatives. Drop-in sessions have been scheduled, as well as letters drafted to individual groups that have a vested interest in climate resilience, but the plan will also be made available to all members of the community via the website and our customer service centres and libraries. Happy to take questions.
Petra, any questions on the adaptation policy? If not, there's a recommendation. Councillor Ismay.
I move that council endorses the draft climate adoption strategy for a period of community engagement from the 25th of July 2024 to 5 p.m. on the 15th of August 2024.
Yeah, we've got a second, Councillor Albrecht. Thank you. Would you like to speak to your motion, Councillor Ismay?
I don't need to think I need to say too much, but some of this has been done by Street Ryan, and I know Wayne Street quite well, and his work has always been very good that I'm aware of, and he's done some stuff in my area at one stage, and a very dedicated man, so I think it'll be a good report.
Yep, thanks, Councillor Ismay. Councillor Albrecht, would you like to comment?
Yes, Mayor Island, I'd just like to say I'm extremely impressed by your GIA assessment. I thought that was the first one we'd seen in that format come to council, and obviously someone spent a lot of time preparing it. And I must say it took me a few reads to even grasp, because climate change, as we know, is quite complex, and then you're trying to look at it through that gender lens. So well done to whoever prepared that document. I think in relation to the strategy itself, it is really important that community understand sort of our role as council. Obviously, we're not able to control individual people's climate impacts, I guess, but as a local government area, we want to see a really healthy environment. So we do have a broader plan. You'll notice in the actions, particularly, a lot of them are ongoing, but I guess I just wanted to touch on Petra's point. If there's any partnerships and groups out there that are passionate or interested in this space, you know, I would encourage them to reach out to council staff, because a lot of this piece is around advocacy, obviously partnerships, and the stronger we are together, the more impactful we can make for climate, and knowing our agricultural sector is very much reliant on good weather. This is a space that it's fantastic to see updated strategy pass through. Well, sorry, not pass through, go out to community consultation.
Thanks, Councillor Albright. If there's no further speakers, all those in favour, against, that's carried. Item 10.7, Hindmarsh Planning Scheme Amendment Authorisation Request on the Lower Wimmera Flood Study, and I'll pass to Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report seeks council's adoption of Lower Wimmera Regional Flood Mapping Study, which was undertaken by Wimmera CMA and Water Technology in 2017. Upon the adoption, we will also seek authorisation from Minister of Planning for planning scheme amendment to give effect to the findings of the flood study by amending the extent of flood overlay and land subject to inundation overlay within the Hindmarsh planning scheme. Our planning scheme currently reflects the flood mapping from 2003 and 2008, and adoption of this flood study will bring our planning scheme to the most current data available, which is the requirement under the planning scheme anyway. Following the adoption of the flood study, we will also make the application under the Regional Planning Hub to get some funding which will assist us in preparing the planning scheme amendment and go through that process. There's lots of detail in the report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions to Ram on the report? Yes,
Yeah, and as you are aware, I asked lots of questions in briefing, and I was just wondering if I can ask some of those questions again. I obviously been told the answers, but I just think it's interesting if I was happy to explain to anyone that might be listening. So I had some really basic questions around how would someone who's potentially looking at buying property find out that their property might be subjected to these flood maps?
So at the moment, if you are interested in having a look at the overlays, Hindmarsh POSI or community map has got, under the planning tab, has got all the overlays, so we can click in there to see which property are affected by which overlays. Once we update this these flood study, which will form LSIO and FO, which is flood overlay and land subject to inundation overlay, that overlay will be updated, and people can have a look at their own property to see what overlays are subjected to that loan.
And did I recall correctly, if you are purchasing a property in your section, I read it to that section, the vendor statement, it would note if any of this was particularly applied. So if you own a property and that the flood maps change the percentage risk of your ability to be flooded, I guess, how does that feed through to your insurance or anyone else? Like, is there anything you have to do as an owner, or to be aware of informed residents advised in writing if the flood map increases their risk?
The extent, the update of the overlay, does not kind of, impact too much on the existing property. They have they're subject to risk now, they will be subject to risk in the future. Insurance, company will use the most current available data, which will be the data from this flood study, to gauge their risk and their premium, I guess. But this flood overlay update is more for any future developments, you know, to make sure that we comply with the requirement of the relevant technical details, for any of the future developments, basically. Yeah. So if someone's trying to build a house in the floodplain, we need to tell them how high they need to build so that they don't get impacted by the future floods.
Thank you. I thought it was a very interesting report on something I knew nothing about, and those people who live along the Wimmera River and know, as you said, they would already know potentially that they can be impacted by flooding. It was just interesting to read that level of detail and try to understand what does that mean.
Yeah. There's a lot of people interested in just the Wimmera River. They might want to be just targeting their house and that sort of thing. So when will they be able to see the document we saw today, like that whole report?
So once we,
It is attachment to the council.
it is the attachment to the council report, so
Oh, it's on
they can have a
they can look at it already. Yeah.
We'll, as a part of exhibition, it will go out to the public again later on. Yep.
Sorry, as a briefing attachment, I didn't think that's there, but it wasn't. It was actually attached to this one. Yep, cool. Okay, any further questions to that report? If not, there's a recommendation there. I'll take it in point form.
Chair Ireland, I'm happy to move a motion. The council adopts the lower Wimmera Regional Flood Mapping Study, in brackets Wimmera Catchment Management Authority and Water Technology 2017. Makes application to the Regional Planning Hub Regional Flood Related Amendments Program to support the implementation of the Lower Wimmera Regional Flood Mapping Study. Prepares a planning scheme amendment to implement the Lower Wimmera Regional Flood Mapping Study in consultation with Wimmera Catchment Management Authority by the dot points A to F listed there. For request that the Minister for Planning grant authorisation under Section 8A of the Planning Environment Act 1987 to prepare and exhibit a planning scheme amendment to give effect to the flood mapping contained above. Upon receiving authorisation for the amendment, undertakes exhibition of the amendment as directed by the Minister, receives a further report on the amendment at the conclusion of the exhibition period. Considering all submissions received in accordance with Section 22 of the Planning and Environmental Act 1987, authorises the Director of Infrastructure Services to make minor editorial and administrative changes to the amendment documents if required.
Thank you, Councillor Ulrich. Am I going to second that? Councillor Bywater, did you want to speak further? Say thank you, Councillor Bywater, for correcting. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Item 10.8, a Rainbow Rises Events Association meeting report, and I'll pass it on.
This is me. Sorry, Ram can do it. No. So this report presents information for council, noting following the following motion that was carried at the council meeting held on the 26th of June 2024 regarding the eligibility of the Rainbow Rises Events Association for council's community events grant. The motion was that the executive meets with relevant parties for further information and brings a report to the July meeting. So there was a meeting held on the 3rd of July. There were several representatives from Council, Victorian Off-Road Racing Association, Branch Gadget Land Council and Rainbow Rises Events Association regarding several events, but at the conclusion of that meeting, Ram and I, as Director Infrastructure Services and Director Corporate and Community Services, discussed the March 2024 event with the Rainbow Rises Events Association. The content of that discussion is listed in the report, and we are happy to take questions.
Thanks, Petra. Have I got any questions from councillors to that report? If not, there's a recommendation from council. Councillor Nelson.
Mayor, I'll move that council notes a meeting held between council executives and the Rainbow Rises Events Association. And number 2, notes the additional information provided related to the 2024 ARB Big Desert 480 Community Event Grant for 2023-24.
Thanks, Councillor Nelson. Have I got a seconder? Councillor Albrecht, thank you. Have I got any speakers against? If not, did you like to speak to your motion, Councillor Nelson?
No, I don't think it's necessary.
Councillor Albrecht? If not, I'll ask for a show of hands. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Item 10.9, request to name an unnamed road and change of road name, Railway Dam Road. And I'll pass to Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report outlines the request for the proposal to name unnamed road to Railway Dam Road. You can the image shows the proposed naming for council's consideration and seeks in principle approval to proceed ahead with the on a period of 28 days between 25 July to the 23 August 2024. So we received a request to name the to rename this road in December 2022. Somehow the request got delayed due to a lot of staff changeovers. We went through 2 or 3 director changeovers in that time. The request was brought up again at the farmer consultation, one of the farmer consultation, and we followed up subsequently. The naming was requested to identify the road in case the emergency service need to access the area. The road is classified as 5R, primary access, which provides the all-weather access to the property. There is a stringent requirement for naming the roads, procedures and principles. The requirement are listed in the table below and meets all of the requirement. There's few consultation, few actions still pending to take, which will be done during the consultation period. After we receive the in-principle agreement from the council, we'll put it out to community to see if they have any objections.
Thanks, Ron. It's interesting. Any questions to the report? If not,
Yeah. I'll move the motion that council provides in principle support to rename unnamed road between Nil Dimbula Road and Rogers Road to that of Railway Dam Road, and to follow due process of the geographic name guidelines and advertise the public feedback on proposal between the 25th of July 2024 to the 23rd of August 2024.
Thanks, Councillor Byler. I've got a second, Councillor Ismay. Thank you. Would you like to speak to your motion, Councillor?
This is just to thank Ram for his work once this got started. I know there was a delay, and I'm pleased to see this and for the work you've done so quickly, just this last bit. So well done.
Thanks, Councillor Byler. Councillor Ismay, would you like to speak further? No. If not, I'll put it to show of hands. All those in favour, against? That is carried. Item 10.10. Thank you, Councillor Nelson, a general conflict. This item relates to the asset disposal sale of what we know as to be the Jurang Hall. I'll pass to Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report seeks the approval from council to commence the process for disposal of the assets currently known as Jurang Hall, located at Jurang Glenley Road, Jurang, through the sale of the property. The recommendation is made following our recent community consultation session in Jurang and through council's community engagement page and associated feedback. The feedback was short for 28 days. Council officers also attended the drop-in session on 21st of May 2024 to seek any direct community feedback. The majority of attendees show the support to the proposal, and all of them were recommended to put any feedback through the, how we say, we received 4 submissions at the end of the submission period. 3 of them were in line with the proposal. There was 1 against, but you know, the hall has not been used for the last 5 years, and to make the hall suitable for use, council would need some significant investment, which is not likely to happen over the next 3 to 5 years. So the best case scenario would be to sell the hall to and you know, generate some revenue from there. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ram. Question?
Yes, Mayor. I understand all the memorabilia and all that type of thing, no problem with that. Things like tables, chairs, there is some asset there. How do we go about that? Who makes that decision? I mean, I guess we'd have an auction or something, or who makes that decision of where the funding would go there?
As part of the submission, some of the submitters have asked for certain items to go to clubs and organisations within Hindmarsh. So we would make the assets available for clubs and organisations within Hindmarsh that might be looking for tables or chairs or crockery or cutlery.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not against the Canova Rifle Club or whatever it is, Tony. I mean, there'd be a great club, but I mean, would it be fair just to go bang and give it to them rather than put it out for a public submission, or how? That's the point.
First preference would be Hindmarsh committees.
Yeah.
I think we'll go through the distribution process, and if there's anything left, they will have to go through the auction for any other processes. Memorably, will be relocated to appropriate location.
And the funding of the sale of the hall would come back to council.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions to Jerome? If not, there's a recommendation for councillors. Yes, councillor Ismay.
I'll move that council 1 approves the disposal of Jurong Hall, Glenlee Road, Jurong, and 2 authorise the CEO to undertake the sale process and sign all necessary documents for the sale of land and the building located at Crown Allotments 1A, 2, 3 and 4, Section 7, Glenlee Road, Jurong, and 3 disposes of internal as per the community requests.
Councillor Ismay, we've got a second to councillor Bywaters. Would you like to speak to the motion, councillor Ismay?
Oh, I don't know that I need to say too much. I think, you know, like Ram said, the place hasn't been used for 5 years, and there's plenty of these buildings all around our shire in very poor condition that are just going to be a liability rather than an asset. So I think it's a bit sad these things happen, but that's why things have gone over the years. So thank you.
Thanks, councillor Ismay.
I would just like to thank everyone for their submissions and for the public, their get-togethers, for their meetings, for the staff, the work that's been done. This, you know, it's a report here, but it's been a long process and a lot of care and thought has gone into it. It hasn't just been done lightly. It's like councillor Ismay says, it's sad to see, but it's a sign of the times. Hopefully someone will buy it and do something magnificent with it. And you know, I just really just want to thank everyone for their input. It was all taken into account, and I had a few phone calls myself and a few different things, but I was disappointed I didn't make it to the first meeting and I couldn't make it to the second one, but this has been taken under really good advisement, and yeah, thanks for the report, and yeah, I'm happy to support the motion.
Thanks, councillor Bywaters. If no further speakers, all those in favour, against, that is carried. Thanks, Shauna. Thanks, councillor Nelson. Okay, item 10.11 is on-site wastewater management plan. I'll pass the Ram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report seeks the council's endorsement of draft on-site wastewater management plan 24-29 to be made available for public comments for the period of 2 weeks from 25 July to 15 August 2024 in accordance with council's community engagement policy. Our last on-site wastewater management plan was adopted in 2006 and is now outdated. We received the funding from DECA, Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, to update our plan, and we engaged a consultant to do so. It is a planning and management document that focuses on the council's understanding of the risk that the on-site wastewater management system, which is technically presents to our municipality, and saves the council's activities in managing those risks now and future. The plan clearly outlines the roles and responsibilities of various parties in the document, and it identifies the various risks associated, and subsequently develops has got the implementation plan over the next 5 years. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ram. Got any questions to the report? If not, Doug.
It's a good question, but insofar as, again, this is a really comprehensive report that we as councils were fortunate to have briefing on and to be able to ask all those little questions. So sometimes these very complex, big reports, and certainly again, as someone reading it, I had lots of questions. So I think sometimes it's just nice to say that for us, this isn't the first time we're seeing it. Obviously, we've had the opportunity. So our silence is not because of our lack of interest, but in fact, that we've had this wonderful opportunity to ask all those specific questions from the author of the report. So
it is good comment. Sometimes it looks like we just breeze over these things. So we had a presentation for 45 minutes at least on this item from a qualified person. So it does look like we just breeze through some things, but they are a lot lengthier than that, believe me. Thanks, Councillor Albrick, really valid point. No more questions. There's a recommendation there. Councillor Nelson.
Mayor, I'll move that council endorse the draft on-site wastewater management plan for 2024 to 2029 for a period of community consultation from the 25th of July 2024 to 5 p.m. on the 15th of August 2024.
Thanks, Councillor Nelson. Have I got a second? Councillor Ismay, thank you. Would you like to speak to your motion, Councillor Nelson?
Yeah, just once again to ask probably the plumbers and maybe people who are on rural properties that this probably is more in line with. Yeah, definitely the plumbers to have a look at it, familiarise themselves with it, provide any feedback if they want to, but this will be the guidelines that they have to follow moving forward, if it's adopted. So it would be good for them to just cast their eyes over it.
Yep, thanks, Councillor. Councillor Ismay, no further. If not, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour, against, that carried. Item 11 are council committees, advisory committees. We've got the Japarut Township Advisory Committee, Nil Township Advisory Committee, and the Rainbow Township Advisory Committee. There's a recommendation there.
Mayor, I'll move that council notes the minutes of the following advisory committees. 1, Japarut Township meeting held on 11th of June 2024. 2, Nil Township meeting held on 11th of June 2024. And 3, Rainbow Township meeting held on 17th of June 2024.
Thanks, Councillor Gershop. Second, Councillor Albrick, thank you. Any councillor or Councillor Gershop, would you like to speak? Councillor Albrick on any of the committees? Any other councillor on any of the committees? If not, all those in favour, against, that's carried. 11.2 community asset committees. We've got the Wimaramelli Pioneer Museum.
Mayor Ireland, I'm happy to move a motion that council notes the minutes of the Wimmera Valley Pioneer Museum Asset Committee meeting held on the 21st of May, 2024.
Thanks, councillor Albrecht. Seconded by councillor Nelson. Would you like to speak? Councillor Nelson, at all?
Just to congratulate and thank all those volunteers that for the month of April put in 335 hours of volunteering work. It's just astounding, isn't it? How much our volunteers give to these organisations, and well done to each and every one of you. Thank you.
348 and the next one coming. Yeah, there is a hell of a lot of hours put in there.
Small amount of people.
Yes. So all those in favour, against, that's carried. Item 12 is late reports. There is none. Item 13, any notices of motion? Item 14, other business. I'll start.
I'm
Councillor
first
Boyle.
twice.
Yeah.
I'm feeling quite honoured. Thank you, Mayor Ireland. Yeah, I just, we've only really got one more. I mean, you just have to look at this councillor report, councillor agenda to see that our next council meeting is going to be quite full, as all the dates of everything out for consultation seems to fall just before then. So we have got one more council meeting outside the caretaker period, which starts on the 17th of September. So I just want to take the opportunity to talk to the public really, and just say, if you've thought about ever running for council, that now's your opportunity before the 2024 elections, to seriously think about it. It would be lovely to see a council that looks like our community in diversity of age and gender and colour and all those things. So it is for everyday people, and there is a council information evening coming up in August the 17th. Yeah, I think so. August 14th, sorry, on August the 14th. Now, I know the first one I went to back in 2011, 2012, I didn't intend running for council. I just went because I was trying to support other people. So you don't have to be running for council to find out information, but it might be something that triggers you for 2028 or down the track, or you might know someone that's interested. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that serving the community is a really a great thing to be able to do, and that's what us as councillors do. And just to, you know, be the change you want to see, think about it. Yeah, so just if you're in Hindmarsh and you want to make a difference in your community, the 2024 elections in October is your opportunity. So yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you. Been a big day.
Thanks, councillor Boyle. Does councillor Nelson?
Yes, just a few more volunteers, people to thank. Last night I went to a thank you from the Good Friday appeal that was held in Dimboola.
Oh, wow.
So people from the Good Friday organisation, Royal Children's Hospital, came up, and there were Lions Club and CFA people there. And it was just an amazing evening, just hearing the stories. There was a gentleman from Conniva who had been running the appeal for 38 years. And it was just astounding, the amount of hours that people around our communities have put into that. And just a big thank you to the general public too for supporting the cause. I mean, it's a fantastic cause, and I think we've all either had a child in the hospital or know someone who has. So it's wonderful, and especially with you talk about healthcare reforms. And this year I was very pleased to hear that some of that money was actually going out into regional areas. It's not all being spent in Melbourne. There's some going out into regional areas. So that was a bit of a surprise to hear that. So that was wonderful to hear that. So just well done to everyone for supporting the cause and everyone who volunteered.
Thanks, councillor Nelson. Councillor Gersh? Nothing, councillor Albrecht? Councillor Ismay.
Just one query, you're a little bit quick for me earlier in the day, but, installation on new amenities, block at Rainbow Caravan Park, it says it's in progress. Has that been signed off yet?
Not yet. The last conversation I had with our manager of that project was that they were still waiting for the building firm to come back. There's just some issues with the level of the building.
Yeah, drainage. the
Yes.
Drainage.
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Seemed to be very drawn out to, because that was installed in, I don't know when it was quite a while ago. So is it operational or not?
I think it is, but I think the water's not running away how it should at the moment.
No, it runs out into it runs out of the showers into the, I don't know what you call it, the change room area that floods onto the floor. Hopefully turned on and taps on up there and just saw it for myself, and then got into all sorts of strife because I left mud in the room, and Mr. Fraser was very angry with me. Anyway.
Thanks, councillor Ismay. I've got nothing further. Okay, we'll move on to item 15, confidential reports, and there's a recommendation.
And I'll move the meeting closed in accordance with section 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act 2020 to consider reports that contain confidential information as defined by section 3 of the Local Government Act 2020 and part 4 of the Freedom of Information Act 1982. 15.1 Contract Award 2023-24-23 Bituminous Surfacing Program. 15.2 Contract 2023-35-26 Construction of a Grandstand and Change Room Facility at Davis Park, Nil. And 15.3 CEO Professional Development Request with preamble.
Thanks, councillor Gerson. Got a seconder, councillor Ismay. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. Thank you, Mary Ann. Hi, thanks for joining us today. I'd like to declare that this meeting of Hindmarsh Shire Council, July 2024, officially closed. Thank you. Have a good day.